This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, the government and Ngāi Tahu have announced a large housing development on Queenstown's former high school site. An albatross now spreads its wings over the entrance to exhibits at Toitū Otago Settlers Museum. And New Zealand school choirs currently rehearsing in Dunedin ahead of a couple of shows and a nationwide tour. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. A large housing development on Queenstown's former high school site will include 100 Kiwi-built apartments. Minister of Housing Megan Woods formally announced the partnership between the government and Ngāi Tahu during a visit to the site yesterday.
From old school to new housing. A partnership between the government and Ngāi Tahu will see 350 homes built on the site of the former Queenstown High School. Kiwi Build Minister Megan Woods says the development was on the books when she took over the portfolio.
This was a proposal that was sitting there for me to have a look at, that this is really needed in this area, that we've got the opportunity to put 350 houses on this site, walk away from the town centre, 105 of those being Kiwi built homes that will give people the opportunity to get into home ownership.
In August, contractors working on behalf of Ngāi Tahu applied for resource consent to subdivide the 4-hectare site into 10 lots. Ngāi Tahu Kaiwhakahaere Lisa Tumahai says the iwi firmly understands the strong need to build more housing in the resort town.
It's also a way of Ngāi Tahu recognising we're a large employer here, we're a large investor, farming, property, tourism, and so we know all too well, as being one of the largest employers here in Queenstown, what those housing issues are like.
Queenstown Mayor Jim Bolt is keenly aware of the need for more accommodation in the resort. He says both the number of units and the development's location are excellent.
Oh, look, I think this is a really significant project. The houses are one thing, really keen to see them built, but the proximity to the CBD is another really important issue.
The dwellings are set to be split into 322 apartments, 40 visitor accommodation apartments, 24 terrace units and 7 standalone houses. The first apartments are expected to be ready by the end of 2022. In Queenstown, The South Today.
A fully functional piece of rail history turned heads as it pulled into Dunedin's railway station this afternoon. Historic diesel locomotive DI 1102 cruised into Dunedin station from the south before pulling up and letting a freight train pass. Grant Craig of Dunedin Railways says it's been hired as a backup locomotive. The engine was built in 1966 and Dunedin Railways drivers are being put through a conversion course which will enable them to operate DI 1102 during the summer season. The bright red unit has spent the past few days around Dunedin completing a certification run to Sawyers Bay earlier in the week. An albatross now spreads its wings over the entrance to exhibits at Toitū Otago Settlers Museum. Acting Director Cam McCracken called yesterday's unveiling of Master Carver James York's Waharoa or Gateway an emotional and significant moment for the museum.
Unveiling a new taonga, Te Ohaka Aotearoa, or the Nest of the Albatross, is the title of the new Waharoa or Gateway at Toitū Otago Settlers Museum. Master carver James York says it took about a year and a half to carve, and today's event was a revelation for him as well.
Well, to tell you the truth, today's the first time I've seen it all up together, because we had, like, as we were installing, we kind of covered pieces up, you know. I think it does transform the space, absolutely. That was kind of the idea.
Acting Toitū Director Cam McCracken says it's instantly transformed the entrance, describing the work as a significant addition to the building and visitor experience. Some of the donated rimu was recycled from a building on Quarantine Island in Otago Harbour, which meant it needed a lot of work to prepare it for carving.
These bits of wood were gifted by one of the council members, Doug Hall. So he gifted the wood for the project. It was all in planks, so had to dress them all down, pulled out about 15,000 nails and laminated them together to get the width that I needed.
The 4 local runanga are acknowledged on the uprights, and blue on the po symbolises a connection to water, the sea, inland rivers and lakes. York says he chose tuaroa or albatross as the bird has an iconic status in Otipoti, Dunedin, amongst tangata whenua and Pākehara alike.
So that's kind of what I wanted everyone to, I wanted it to be inclusive, you know, and everyone to be able to go, oh, you know, I can sort of, you know, relate to that or in some way or another. So we've got the albatross up here, we've got all our, the gold miners, the Chinese whānau, the whalers, the sealers, all that up in the wings, up in the albatross.
The $30,000 project was co-funded by the Ngāi Tahu Fund and a donation from the Otago Community Trust, as well as the Dunedin City Council. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A man who led police on a chase after an incident in Oamaru last night was finally caught by police dogs in North Dunedin. A police spokeswoman says they were called to a family harm incident in Oamaru about 6 p.m. yesterday. The 27-year-old man fled in a vehicle heading south to Dunedin. Police unsuccessfully attempted to stop the man just south of Waikato-Waiti with road spikes. The man came to a stop near the University of Otago, where he left his car and fled on foot before being found by a police dog team. The man was set to appear in the Dunedin District Court today, charged with failing to stop. 6 Dunedin high school pupils are now part of a prestigious national choir. The talented half dozen were selected to join the New Zealand Secondary Students Choir, which is set to perform to Germany next year.
Learning from their song sheets, the New Zealand Secondary School Students Choir have been spending the last week rehearsing in Dunedin for their upcoming concerts across the South Island. 6 of the 56 choristers were selected from Dunedin pupils, and choir manager Anna Bowron says she's impressed with the quality of the local singers.
Well, we run nationwide auditions, which we literally travel from Auckland down to Dunedin to audition people. We had about 30 applicants from Dunedin, and amazing that 6 of them got on the choir. That's a really good percentage, and we love having our Dunedin members. They've been growing actually in numbers for many years now, and so 6 is very representative of the region. It's fantastic.
Bowron says the singers were chosen for a wide range of skills.
It's not just about music skills, it's about their oral skills, it's about their rhythm, it's whether they can sight read, their general presence in front of other people, their confidence in singing out. Yeah, so there's lots of things taken into account.
This choir is also just one of 5 from around the world selected to perform at the Children's International Choir Festival in Dresden next year.
In January we'll be in Napier and Palmerston North for a week of touring, and then we head to Auckland and fly off to Germany on sort of mid-April.
The choir's South Island performances include Timaru and Christchurch, as well as a concert in Dunedin St Paul's Cathedral tomorrow night at 7:30. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, Cantabrians are putting their best feet forward for Christchurch's Walking Festival, and we have another instalment of Chris Morris's talks with departing Mayor Dave Cull, so see you after the break.
Miller's Flat Bakery, proudly opening this Labour weekend after a long labour of love. The Restoration Trust has brought back to life this historic part of the main Central Otago transport route. Come see the only wood-fired bakery oven in New Zealand. Turn off at the Miller's Flat Blue Bridge and bring the whole family to enjoy some tasty fresh baked goods the old-fashioned way, before electricity. That's the Miller's Flat Bakery opening Labour weekend.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
season, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
My key message is positive action, and I believe I have the leadership maturity to take this city forward to a brighter future. I have clearly spelled out how I will use values and culture to get everybody working for Dunedin instead of against each other. I'm Jules Raddick, and I want to represent you as Mayor.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Welcome back. The Christchurch Walking Festival has been in swing for the last 2 weeks. One of the first walks in this year's festival was along the Avon River last Saturday, with youth wellbeing as the focus of the walk.
Enjoying the first of 50 walks being held in the Christchurch, Waimakariri and Selwyn districts during the city's 2-week walking festival. Last Saturday's walk included stopping for poetry readings and the donation of a Black Boy peach tree by the Kaiapoi Food Forest Trust. Student Grace Feltham says the new fruit tree will be added to the many others already planted on the University of Canterbury campus.
Yeah, there's actually a path partway through the uni that I think was started earlier this year, which is an edible campus walk, so they have a few different fruit trees and things for students to grab on the way through, so we're going to have an awesome thing to add to that collection.
In the theme of permaculture, additional plants are to be installed to help nurture the peach tree.
What we've decided to do is bring along a comfrey bush which will provide nutrients for the tree. We've brought strawberries along which will provide additional food and ground cover to keep the weeds at bay, and we've also got a kowhai which will produce nitrogen or help with nitrogen for the plant.
Cairns is pleased the university is following the Kaiapoi Food Forest's sustainable way of growing food.
The university obviously is setting the example as well, trying to show people that it's not so hard to grow food and it's not so hard to grow food sustainably. So that's why we grow things not as a monoculture, as a permaculture process, so we grow them in layers.
Feltham says the university student volunteer army have many environment improving events during the year.
We just had our final camp of the year last weekend. We went out to Westport for 2 days and we were doing all sorts of projects out there. We had a few beach cleanups going, we had some planting and weeding at a community house, and that was really awesome. So that was our final big project of the year, and then the rest of the year we've just got our smaller platoon projects going on, which is about 10 to 50 volunteers, all sorts of little community things happening.
The walking festival runs for 2 weeks, ending on October the 13th, with one of the last events being a walk along the Kaiapoi River and Kaiapoi Food Forest, which is an area of food-bearing trees and plants on what was a housing estate before the earthquakes. In Christchurch, the South Today.
As part of a week-long series, Otago Daily Times senior reporter Chris Morris talks to outgoing Dunedin Mayor Dave Cull about his time in office. Tonight we hear about the dire financial state of the DCC-owned companies when he first became mayor. Carl says it took a lot of effort to keep Dunedin's rates rises below double figures, which were suggested at the time by chief financial officers.
Well, either the directors were keeping one eye closed, or they were naive.
Which do you think?
Probably a bit of both. But it certainly wasn't. And the reason that we disestablished the board of DCHL was that they didn't meet their responsibilities. You know, I can recall when we were told. There were a couple of occasions that were really salient. The first was we were told, sort of informally, that they couldn't sustain the $23 million a year. And I, at that time, for whatever reason, I couldn't get the whole board together, so I asked them, various groups of them separately, and I'd say to them, well, what can DCHL afford in the way of dividends? I kept getting different answers, and that was completely unsatisfactory, that the board didn't actually know what it could do. And the second occasion was the first budget first annual plan budget, I think, under Chief Executive Paul Orders. We had gone right through the submissions. We were just about to go into deliberations as a council, and CEO Orders took us out to the back to the Brian Arnold Lounge and said, I've got some news for you. There's going to be a $4 million, I think it was, hole because the companies can't provide that we thought they could. And we were making a decision then. We looked ahead and said any discretionary capital spending, and some that wasn't that discretionary, comes out into the future. And we just cut it all out to cut the costs. And I think the other decision that I did lead, actually, we were being briefed by the finance team about what our upcoming projected rates increases would be, and we were told the next one would be 11.9, the next one would be something around 8, might have been 7.8 or 8, and the next one would have been 6 or 7. And I just remember thinking and saying out loud, there's no way we're going to do that. And I think our Chief Financial Officer said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, it'll be 5 next year, 4 the one after, and 3 thereafter. It's not affordable for our community to go like that. And it took a lot of squeezing, but we got it there.
And you can see more of the interview with the Mayor on odt.co.nz and Channel 39. After the break on The South Today, we check in with a major Dunedin businesses expansion project and we look at the weather heading towards the weekend. So stay with us.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Hi, kia ora. I'm Tony Hunter and I'm running for the Otago Regional Council. I've been a school principal here for 20 years and want the next generation to enjoy the quality of life I've experienced here in Otago. My particular areas of interest are water quality, transport, South Dunedin and Port Otago. Let's spend rates wisely and push central government to come to the party too. I'll bring common sense and open communication to the ORC. Vote Tony Hunter for the Otago Regional Council.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life. When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274.
Hi, I'm Doug Hall. I'm standing for council in this election. I have been a councillor for the past 6 years. If I am elected in the next 3 years, I hope to push more in recycling and a circular economy for the waste of Dunedin City. My company recycled 35,000 tonne of product heading for the landfill in the last 12 months into roading, footpaths and construction industry. And if I get elected, I would be pushing to maximise the amount of recycling and minimise the amount to the landfill. I ask for your vote, Doug Hall, number 1. Thank you.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Miller's Flat Bakery, proudly opening this Labour weekend after a long labour of love. The Restoration Trust has brought back to life this historic part of the main Central Otago transport route. Come see the only wood-fired bakery oven in New Zealand. Turn off at the Miller's Flat Blue Bridge and bring the whole family to enjoy some tasty fresh baked goods the old-fashioned way, before electricity. That's the Miller's Flat Bakery opening Labour weekend.
Thanks for staying with us. Work is continuing on the expansion of Khan's Catering Supplies on Dunedin's Kitchener Street. The company is redeveloping old warehouses to enlarge its footprint to almost a hectare in size, with 80% of the space earmarked as refrigerated areas. What started as a modest grocery store in Brockville in the 1960s has expanded into a business with 170 staff and an annual turnover of $80 million. The family-owned business says around $10 million is being spent on the redevelopment. They also have plans to upgrade more of the Kitchener Street warehouses in the future. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. The government and Ngāi Tahu have announced a large housing development on Queenstown's former high school site, promising more than 300 dwellings. An albatross now spreads its wings over the exhibition's entrance at Toitoi Otago Settlers Museum as a stunning carving is unveiled. A New Zealand school choir is currently rehearsing in Dunedin ahead of a couple of shows and a nationwide tour. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Barry Stewart. What have you got for us in the paper?
From your obviously a sunny holiday.
Oh, did you notice the tan?
I did. I couldn't help but. So obviously you went to Invercargill?
Yeah, definitely Invercargill.
Excellent.
And then on the way to Tonga.
Stopped off at Tonga on the way. On more important issues, Health Minister David Clark has hinted strongly that there could be money made available for the to replace inadequate buildings at Waikari Hospital, but only if the Southern District Health Board makes a compelling business case. So that's all ahead of us. On the election matters, we have a detailed list of how all the current Dunedin City Council councillors voted on the big issues over the term. So that's quite revealing. Poor weather on the way, some cold snaps are likely to hit Otago and Southland during the first half of October, after a long-range NIWA forecast. So that's details of that. And another issue heading up to Christmas, recent shortage of Jersey Benny seed potatoes in Dunedin means some gardeners may not get or struggle to grow their own supplies for this Christmas. So there you go, that's pretty serious. Winning Southland under-12 girls football team was put into quarantine at Invercargill Airport on Tuesday afternoon after returning from a tournament in Blenheim. And on another Southland note, Dave Hewitt will not be going to reapply for the Stags rugby coaching role.
Well, that will be an interesting one. Who would be stepping up to that position?
It's a very good question, Mel, and you'll have to read your newspaper to find that out.
I think we'll all have to read the newspaper so that we can make informed choices about voting as well.
Exactly, yes, very good point.
Lovely. So everyone, make sure you read tomorrow, have a look at the ODT and make some informed choices. Don't forget to vote. And now it's time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, tourists enjoying Dunedin's railway station. Looking at the situation, a milder day ahead tomorrow with west to northwesterly airflow increasing ahead of a cold front due tomorrow night. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect grey skies, a couple of showers and 14 degrees. Across to the northeast, where Nelson and Blenheim are also due for grey skies, but a pleasant 17 degrees. Moving down to Canterbury, expect cloudy skies at times across this area. Kaikoura and Christchurch aim for 16, while Ashburton you're due for 17 degrees. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns, you can all expect strong northwesterlies with late rain. The Catlins and Balclutha head for 16, while it's due to be a bit cooler in Lumsden and Gore, aiming for 15. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes region, you can expect fresh northwesterlies with cloud increasing. Queenstown and Wanaka aim for 14, Alexandra you're aiming for 17 degrees, and Tiana you're also set for strong northwesterlies and rain with 14 degrees. Up to the northern towns, Timaru and Oamaru can look forward to freshening northwesterlies and high cloud increasing, aiming for a high of 17 degrees. It should be pretty similar inland with Twizel and Amarama, both heading for highs of 16. In Dunedin, mostly cloudy and cold tonight with an overnight low of 5 degrees. Warmer tomorrow with sunny periods at first, but high cloud increasing during the day. Plan for a high of 18 and a low of 7. Morning showers clearing on Saturday with sunny periods increasing in the afternoon with a high of 9 and a low of 4. And in Invercargill, mostly cloudy tonight with westerly winds and an overnight low of 6. Cloud increasing and rain developing from mid-afternoon tomorrow with fresh northwesterlies, a high of 16 overnight and a low of 7. Cloudy with showers on Saturday and strong cold southwesterlies, a high of 8 and an overnight low of 5. And that's all from the South Today team this Thursday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.